News.
Already getting in. Everything's slowing down here, so we're really tapering this off quickly. The big view will show you that the dry air is already pulling in south, right around through central Pennsylvania. The little comma-shaped area to the back, well, this is the end of it. So later tonight, as it pulls east, there are just a few flurries, and there's a bit of drizzle and some sleet that'll be right along coastal areas, which will be an issue for those road services. All in all, the totals on the Monday snow event, or as we said, you have a tendency to name these things like the blizzard of '03. This will just be the enough already snowfall. 4 to 8 inches of snow across the area, widely scattered snowfall totals, really widespread totals. We'll go over them in a list in the next, within this half hour. 2 to 4, a lot less in southern sections because of the changeover, and then there was a little less in northern areas as well, just because you didn't get as much moisture in those areas. So we'll go over this, then we'll talk about the colder temperatures tonight and what's ahead for the week when we come back in just a minute. Bill?
All right, Sam, thank you. You can't exactly call the scene outside a winter wonderland, not on April 7th, but parts of our area did get a substantial serving of snow, as you saw in Sam's numbers there. How it affected you depended what you had to do and what time you had to do it. We have reporters everywhere today, and we begin with Anthony Johnson. He is in New Jersey and Clifton for us. Anthony.
And Bill, as you can see, the snow has finally let up here. We got a little bit of light rain coming down right now. We're standing right next to Route 3 westbound coming from the Lincoln Tunnel heading into New Jersey. You can see traffic is pretty light out here. Obviously, a lot of people did not go to work today or decided to use mass transit. But if you're going to be getting out on the roads this evening, realize they could be pretty treacherous.
Like, it's unbelievable, honestly. I just was talking to my girlfriend and stuff. It's unbelievable.
The plows were out early, pushing the snow off of the parkway. Some of the equipment had been put on mothballs for next winter, but workers had to drag the snow removal gear back out and back into service.
We're going to spend about $6 million in snow removal this year, and we budgeted probably for a third of that. So we're way into next year's budget.
Signs of spring are struggling to show their resilience. Just when the trees and flowers were ready to bloom, Old Man Winter hit with another blast of snow.
Oh, I don't even know what the kids gonna do for Easter. They're supposed to be in their little Easter dresses, and it's gonna be cold.
And the state of New Jersey had budgeted $15 million to remove snow this winter. Already, they have spent over $33 million. Live in Clifton, Anthony Johnson, ABC 7 Eyewitness News. Now let's go to my colleague Joe Torres in Westchester County. Hey, Joe.
Hey, Anthony, in terms of accumulation here in northern Westchester County, it pretty much goes like this. The grass, the fields, they are snow-covered, but then you move over to the parking lots and the main roads, and for the most part, they are clear and they are passable. Nonetheless, some of the people we talked to have told us, yes, they've had enough. So what are they doing? They are heading south. In downtown Katona, these two young boys had the right idea, snow shovels in spring. Their parents, however, had entirely different plans.
Plane trips to Florida.
On Wednesday.
On Wednesday.
Yeah. Oh, you're going? You really are going?
Yes.
Yeah. You're not just thinking about it.
No, we're going this time.
Horrible winter. We're sick of snow.
Sounds like you had enough.
Yeah.
Most Westchester schools, like Horace Greeley High, never opened today thanks to the spring snowstorm. Driving on the parkways, such as the Sawmill, was difficult as road crews broke out the salt spreaders and plow trucks once again. Some highway departments had the plows packed away in storage.
Had 1 or 2 trucks that we thought we were going to break down from winter breakdowns and, take them apart and do their spring thing. We had to patch them up. Our mechanics did a great job this morning putting everything back together.
Town of Bedford Highway Department, in fact, told us they were so much into the spring mode, they were cleaning the sidewalks, cleaning the roads of all the dirt and debris that accumulated over the winter. Now they said it's a job they'll have to start all over again. Live in Chappaqua, I'm Joe Torres, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Joe, I'm sure you saw a lot of people shaking their heads in disbelief. All this snow so late in the season. And then there's the budget. New York City spent this year's snow budget a long time ago and now has to find more money at a time of huge deficits. Jeff Rawson continues our coverage. He's live in Hillcrest, Queens with more. Jeff?
And the city is feeling this hard, Diana. We're going to have more on that in just a moment. But first I want to tell you about covering the storm, at least from what we see from our perspective. Love covering the first storm of the season because everyone runs around. Maybe it's around Christmas time. Everyone's excited. Today, I walk up to people and you say, hey, what do you think of the springtime snow? I don't want to talk about it. It's okay. We're hoping this is it. And so is the city. From Brooklyn to the Bronx, it doesn't feel like spring.
I'm dressed for summer. It's hard.
You're dressed for the summer?
Yes.
You can tell people are just thrilled.
Hope we won't have any snow at all tomorrow.
and the rest of this month.
Main roads are slushy. Side streets are, of course, worse. Still, this won't go down as one of the city's worst storms, but it is one of the latest. We thought winter was over, and so did the mayor, facing a budget mess even before this blast.
It puts us way over our budget, but the bottom line is with budgets, you still go out and spread the salt and the sand, and you plow, and you make sure the city is safe.
Right now here in Hillcrest, Queens at least, we are beginning to see it let up, and like Joe Torres and Anthony Johnson are seeing it as light rain at this point. Let's see if that's happening out on Long Island. Lauren DeFranco continues our coverage in Garden City. Lauren, what are you seeing?
Well, Jeff, that's exactly what's happening out here on Long Island. The snow has turned into a cold, icy rain. I can tell you it's wet and it's miserable. Right now you're looking at live pictures of Old Country Road where the traffic is moving along steadily, but make no mistake about it, the roadways are slippery. Throughout the day, driving conditions went from fair to treacherous, especially on the secondary roads, less traveled. Okay driving?
Okay, yeah. The responsible thing is to go home, but here we are.
I think I'm ready for spring. I think this is disastrous.
In fact, most people were reluctant to believe that snow would arrive in April, but the signs of spring disappeared into the cold, harsh reality that it had. And for Joe Barras, it was hard to accept. Did you think you'd be doing this in April?
No way and no way.
And for children whose classes were canceled today, the snow was a pleasant surprise.
Snowing in the spring.
You think that's funny?
Yes.
Are you happy you got out of school?
Yes.
Why?
Because I was supposed to have a test today.
Now, a lot of people were in denial about this storm, including myself. Hopefully tomorrow it will all be a distant or not so distant memory. Reporting live from Garden City, Long Island, Lauren DeFranco, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Lauren. A lot of the main roads look pretty good, but for the latest on the roads, let's go to Heather O'Rourke at Metro Traffic. Heather, give us the latest.
Diana, we did find one of the main roads that is getting stacked up. The Belt Parkway getting into the area of the Van Wyck right around JFK Airport, very slow westbound, all the way to Cross Bay Boulevard, then again Pennsylvania Avenue into the Mill Basin Drawbridge. Here is the New Jersey Turnpike right in front of Newark Airport. Traffic is not moving too badly, but we do have speeds reduced to 35 miles per hour on both the eastern and the western spurs. And of course, the airports. If you're going to catch a flight yourself or if you have to pick somebody up, make sure you get in touch with your individual carrier. We do have delays. We also have some cancellations reported. Heather O'Rourke, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Heather, thank you. It took a snowstorm to knock the war from the lead of our newscast, but now the latest on the war in Iraq. A huge show of force in Baghdad today. U.S. troops took over a major presidential palace on the banks of the Tigris River. And 130 tanks and Bradley fighting vehicles rolling today down the streets of the Iraqi capital. The Army today finding several sites with possible chemical weapons, and tonight rigorous testing to determine exactly what kind of chemicals they are and if they're dangerous. And with the Battle of Baghdad still a long way from over, President Bush and Prime Minister Blair today meeting in Northern Ireland to discuss what happens next in Iraq after the war. With the latest, Jim Dolan in Doha Qatar for us. Jim?
And Bill, the man known as Chemical Ali, who is said to be responsible for savage torture along with the deaths of as many as 300,000 people, many of them with chemical weapons, is apparently dead. He was killed in a strike at a residence in Najaf on Saturday along with his bodyguards and several generals assigned to southern Iraq. He was a cousin of Saddam Hussein's and perhaps his most trusted, certainly his most ruthless advisor. News of his death comes, ironically, on a day when the coalition may well have confirmed the existence of chemical weapons near Karbala. And it comes on a day when coalition forces blew up a canal bridge near the Tigris River after 2 Marines were killed in fighting there. In Basra, as in most of the country now, coalition troops have the run of the place. They took this palace in Basra, and they took this one in Baghdad. But the biggest news of the day came from outside Karbala, where drums of chemicals were discovered, buried under sand and leaves, and initial tests indicate the presence of sarin and tabun, both banned chemicals that can be used as weapons. And it was so toxic a sight that soldiers there started to react to the fumes and had to be rinsed off.
More than half the guys had thrown up. Some guys were reporting red dots and headaches.
But the Pentagon was not sure they'd yet found the chemical weapons smoking gun.
We don't do first reports, and we don't speculate, and I can tell you it takes days to get samples of things from wherever they are in the battlefield into a first place where they take a look, and then to a second place where things get checked.
On a day when coalition troops reached further into Baghdad.
Runny nose, itchy, watery eyes, sinus congestion, and pressure.
So what should you get? Sudafed Sinus and Allergy, the strongest combination of these sinus and allergy medicines available, with or without prescription.
It's my sinus and allergy answer.
Sudafed Sinus and Allergy, strong medicine, powerful relief. And for a full day of non-drowsy sinus relief, try Sudafed 12-Hour.
100-mile-per-hour winds, roofs blown off houses, 20-foot storm surge, and that's just the beginning. Get ready for 5 amazing nights of the most incredible storms you'll ever see. Storm Week begins tonight on the Weather Channel with Raging Hurricane. Watch nature wreak havoc on people, property, and paradise. Raging Hurricane, it's intense. Are you ready? Storm Week starts tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, only on the Weather Channel.
Storm Week, tonight at 8 on the Weather Channel. And now, here's your local on the 8s. Currently, the temperature is 30 degrees, with rain and some freezing rain. Your forecast. Your extended forecast.
You're watching the Weather Channel. Live by it.
Coming up next on Weather Center, the chance of severe thunderstorms looms over the south tonight. Several Gulf Coast states are under severe weather watches.
In the other half of the country, winter just does not want to give up. A number of major metros in the Northeast got snow today. We'll have the very latest coming up.
Chicago, you are one of the places that saw snow from the same system that's moving through the Northeast. We've got more details straight ahead. Hi, and welcome to Weather Center. I'm Christina Abernathy.
And I'm Carl Parker. Thanks for joining us. The big story today is the snow in New York City. And boy, you're waiting for spring up there, and it just won't come.
It's just not coming. And it looks like the weather's going to be a little chilly there for at least a few more days, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's going to continue for a while. Another shot of snow potentially later in the week. So a lot going on, and we'll talk about your forecast in a moment. Snow started falling in New York City at around 10 a.m. today. Some schools were closed in anticipation of the 3 to 5 inches that has fallen across the city. LaGuardia, JFK, and Newark all reporting 5 inches. And the Yankees game was also canceled today. This spring storm will also stretch the city's winter weather budget. Sand and salt trucks are once again out trying to clear the secondary roads of snow and ice. Well, a big part of what happened here in the Northeast is high pressure that is now building down into eastern Canada. This is a very chilly high, and with that we have a lot of cold air supporting the snowfall here. So temperatures now in the 20s in interior parts of the Northeast, 31 in New York City, 35 in Philly. You add an impulse here coming up from the south, some moisture from the Atlantic, and voila, we get snow. And the snow has been falling once again for the better part of the day in New York City. We are getting a bit of a mix just off towards the south, some freezing rain being reported in New Jersey. It's mostly light snow here, although we have seen heavier snow around Islip, light snow across the state of Connecticut as well as into Rhode Island. You'll probably see about 6 inches in Hartford and also in Providence. And we think the snow will eventually make it into Boston. We're actually seeing some sunshine in some areas of eastern Massachusetts right now, but eventually that snow will sneak up, and by the time it's all said and done, maybe 2 to 4 in Boston, probably about 3 to 6 as indicated by the white here, and 1 to 3 as indicated by the gray. We could find more wintry weather tomorrow lingering in interior parts of the Northeast, some ice or some snow in some areas, so do watch out for that. About 34 with morning snow showers in Boston, and then morning rain showers in Philly and also in D.C. About 50 for your high in D.C. and about 54 in Cincinnati. In the Midwest, with the great big upper low associated with this system, we've got some snow here falling anywhere from Michigan back through parts of Wisconsin, southeastern Minnesota, and northern parts of Iowa. And for the most part, it is light snow, but it has been very persistent in some areas, so we've actually seen more than a foot in northern parts of Iowa in the last 24 hours. A lot of cold air in place too. 31 now Detroit, 32 in Chicago, 31 Des Moines, and it's now 41 in Minneapolis. There's the forecast tomorrow. Some lingering precipitation here, maybe some snow showers showing up in Chicago, about 36. Wet day potentially late in the day in St. Louis, about 44. And very nice weather in Minneapolis, about 47 for your afternoon high. Christina?
Well, let's take a look at the south, where unfortunately we still have the threat of severe weather. Severe thunderstorm watches in effect from Texas over into parts of Louisiana and Mississippi, and we have already had severe weather in some areas, including around Houston as well as over toward southern Louisiana and into New Orleans. This storm that we're seeing moving across southeastern Texas has a history of producing large hail. It produced hail around the Houston area, so do watch out for that. And notice that we're seeing a little more stormy weather that's popped up back here to the west, just north of I-10. So still some stormy conditions here, as well as into parts of Louisiana. In Iberia Parish, we've had reports of half-dollar sized hail, and you're under a severe thunderstorm warning right now. So keep in mind, the storm does have a history of producing large hail, and you will want to watch out for that. Also keeping an eye on the New Orleans area and some of the surrounding parishes, because you're also under severe thunderstorm warning. So lots of rough weather going on here. You'll definitely want to keep an eye on things and take cover if your county or parish is under a severe thunderstorm warning. Across the rest of the southeast, we're also dealing with some wet weather in Alabama and Georgia and up into the Carolinas. Rain and some embedded thunderstorms in some of these areas too. And we are concerned as well about heavy rain. You've already seen rain in many of these areas, a lot of it for some of you, and we're expecting even more in the forecast for tomorrow. And with that, the threat of flooding. The flood watch is extensive here from Virginia and the Carolinas all the way back into southeastern Texas. So look out for more rain. Look out in flood-prone and low-lying areas, and watch out with some of the rivers and streams, and make sure that you do not drive your car through water-covered roads. It's very, very dangerous to do so. Most fatalities in flash flooding situations occur in automobiles, so we always urge you, don't take any chances, and watch out because the wet weather continues. More rain and thunderstorms, Charlotte, Atlanta, New Orleans, and Houston. Now back to the west. Quite across much of the southwest, but we are seeing a bit of snow in the Colorado Rockies. And we're seeing a bit of rain with a chance for some higher elevation snow here in the northwest. You can see all the clouds around, and underneath those clouds, a soggy afternoon for you in western Washington. So you can see the rain here, but you can also see some of that snow in Colorado, where we could pick up 1 to 3 inches of snow through midnight tonight, and then rain with maybe some snow in the Cascades here in the northwest. And we're actually expecting more wet weather for Seattle and for Portland tomorrow, but lots of sunshine around Los Angeles and Phoenix, with those high temperatures getting up into the 80s. Well, here's the big picture around the country, and you can see all of the wet weather across the southeast, rain and thunderstorms. We could see snow and maybe even some icy conditions in a few pockets across the northeast, and our wet weather continues across the deep south, although we do begin to see things quieting down somewhat back through Texas and Louisiana by the afternoon and evening hours, but you're still hanging on to lots of rain from Florida and Georgia into the Carolinas.
Business travel got you squeezed in? Don't downsize, Amerisize. Get more workspace in a spacious suite for the price of just a hotel room, plus our free bountiful breakfast buffet. AmeriSuites. Don't downsize, Amerisize.
Out here, the grass never stops growing, and you gotta take care of that. Go, boys! Fresh cut grass smells like victory.
It's the Tractor Supply Company, the stuff you need out here.
Hi. We have a little leak or something. Holy moly. Guess I better get started.
Right. But first...
Tonight on CN8 News with Arthur Fennell, America at War, Day 18.